Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be going over all the changes in AskCodi and telling you about our road plan, telling you about what we have planned for our beta and when do we plan to make it public, so that it's for available for everyone's use and everyone can get access to the new agents and all the tools that we have been creating and all the new language models we are continuously adding. So very excited to go ahead with this and show you guys everything we have been working on and working towards in terms of the vision we have for our Codi to make it a perfect tool for developers. Um, Very excited to share this week's updates. We have made very major updates around the platform in terms of performance. So it's not any visible changes, but there are changes in terms of how you would use it on a phone, or basically how it would work as if you were asking some questions, or how it would be visible. So just to very quickly show you how it would look on a phone, I'll just put it in a phone mode. So the the UI has been improved so that it is very clearly visible what's going on in terms of how it look on a mobile phone. So there's a big tab where you can add what you want to do, still have context, so you can add code to add code for your code generator, instruction, choosing of your language, that's still the same. We are continuously working on the new models. Recently, we added Code Llama 70 billion. We're going to add the entire family of Mistral and Gemini family, Claude family. So we have very exciting upcoming features in terms of models to be added in AskCodi. We are very slowly adding, not very slowly, but very carefully adding them in terms of performance and how it works with our prompts and how we can get the best out of them. We have all these AI tools. We are continuously improving everyone's performances, trying to add new connections. So, for something as simple as an SQL generator, we are creating a new data source which would let you connect your databases directly and ask generate SQL statements and even run them on the platform itself, so that you can very quickly get ahead of get your SQL queries without having to generate it and run it in your local query. So that's another direction we're going into. For integrations, we are continuously improving the integrations. VS Code recently saw major updates in terms of context. Now you can chat with your entire file without having to write the instructions within the file itself. If the file is too long, you can just select the code and ask questions. We're gonna make similar changes in JetBrains and Sublime Text very soon. Uh, yes, that's in terms of updates. We are also soon adding a language model tab, which will let you see which models you have access to and which models are coming soon and which models you can add API keys to start using. In terms of UI changes, now you can see your plan and your credits here. So this is currently I'm on the App Store Tier 3 plan and I have unlimited credits. This unlimited credits is tied to a certain plan. So I have unlimited credits for base model and the GPT 3.5 model. The Code Llama model, base model, and the Code Llama model for GPT-4, I still need to add my keys, the GPT keys. So, very quickly going over the tools, then I'll go over to agent and we'll explain what sort of next step we are adding to the agent itself. In terms of our AI tools, our next step in AI tools is to connect our data sources with every tool. So once you have added your GitHub in your data source, we wanted to connect to any tool that we have and generate code or do a code fix or code refactor from your GitHub without having to copy paste your code. That's our next step. It's going to be released in 2 weeks. That's our timeline for connecting the data source tools. So and we do plan to go public in terms of using this platform for making this platform open for everyone very soon after that. Once we test that for a week or so, we'll make it public as well. Very quickly, to show an example for everyone new coming to this live chat, I want to show how to get the best out of our stories. So if I was working with let's say Next.js, I can just write it out, and if it Next.js, and I want to create an API to authenticate the user using Firebase, as simple as this. Then I'm using the base model here. Our base model is currently GPT 3.5. As you can see, it generated the entire code uh, right from scratch. That's what we're expecting out of our GPT, our base models anyway. This one is creating a hook which has a sign out, get current user, sign in with Google. So really powerful. I'll very quickly show you if we just change the model and make it Code Llama. So Code Llama is a bigger model. It's much slower in terms of output of tokens per second. So yeah, as you can see, Code Llama gave me just, it understood exactly what you need. So it just gave me code to authenticate. So sign in with base. This is working with email and password. I'll try running GPT-4. Yes. So, and GPT-4 is the slowest of them all because it's the biggest one, biggest model in the arsenal. It's much slower than the others. Code Llama 70 billion is as powerful as GPT-4, but nowhere close in terms of speed or the errors it throws. So yes, so that's the difference. As you can see, this one was the most accurate in terms of result for sure. GPT-4 is still leaps and bounds ahead of other models. So this one gave me code for an authentication code, and it's sort of doing the same thing as what Code Llama did. So out of the three models, the best performant was GPT-4. Code Llama was very close. It gave me the similar code, and it was as performant. Base model still didn't work as an API. It did not give me an API code, but it gave me code to authenticate as a hook. I'm guessing exactly that's not what we needed. So usually in those cases, I would again try like clicking on it and trying getting it again. So now I tried it base again, and this time I got a key as an API. So the first rule is to try the model and figure out which one works best for you. And even if you don't have credits for the other models, the base model and the Code Llama model are equally powerful because ultimate users have unlimited access to Code Llama, and premium users have unlimited access to base. So if you just run it a couple of times, I'm sure you would get your correct answer. So that's how this one works. I'll just copy paste this code, and I'll just show you another very quickly, another code tool again. So this time we are working with a security code scanner. Same for Next.js. I wrote my API file, I run it with base. So it shows me whatever is wrong with my code. So in this case, we have a lack of input validation, that's for sure. While calling an API, you should definitely validate what kind of input goes into it, so that no extra variables come through or something improper comes through. We didn't do error handling. There's a try catch, but that's very basic in terms of the, again, I think it's HTTPS. It would be HTTPS if we install middleware and stuff. So security code scanner is to figure out what could go wrong. This is like testing your code without writing the test cases. So that's a good, very good tool to have. We do have a unit test writer. So very quickly, I'll run another example. I'll run this similarly with the base model. So first it gave me all the test cases it can generate. So successfully authenticate user, Firebase not initialized. It will create test cases for each one of them, and then it does do it. So it's using super test library, which basically simulates a API call and then figures out which one works best. So and if the test case is accurate or not. So in our cases, you can see it's much improved. Even the base model gives much better answers now. This was a very slight performance implementation that we did to improve the code outputs. This time let's try it with Code Llama to just see a difference. As you can see, this time Code Llama did not is giving me the code, but it's not well formatted. So I'll just click on it again. So this time it's telling me, okay, I need to test this, I need to test that. Much better answer than the previous one, definitely, for sure. Yes. As you can see, the Code Llama did not write the code itself. It just gave you the test cases. I was wrong. I was actually wrong. So this time it actually did write the code. It just took a little bit of time. So this is a very good example to see how working with Code Llama works. So it's a very slow model. It's a expensive model in terms of computing. So that's why it wasn't very clearly visible that if it had ended or not, but it did write me the code for the test cases. So again, similar to base, it gave me the two test cases, and then it wrote the test cases for it. This was a little bit more extensive than the base model, which we would expect from such a high potential model such as Code Llama. Um, yeah, this was another update we did to AskCodi. So Code Llama has had been having problem with outputting code when you ask it questions. So we did a major performances upgrade for Code Llama so that it gives you code in most of the cases. Sometimes it might happen that it's not well formatted. Then I would just ask you to click it again. Given that unlimited ultimate users have unlimited access to Code Llama, it's a much better alternative to GPT-4, and you can use it as much as you want. Just for comparison, I would run it with GPT-4 anyway again. This one is on a similar line on GPT-3 and Code Llama. It just said what test cases is it running with. It did not go with the super test library as the other ones, the Code Llama. It went with a different one. It went with node mocks, but again, it's similar. So just in case if a code generated by Code Llama does not work, this is a very good way to show that you can, try a different model and try different generating different answers. It's an AI. There's no fixed answers. There are, even in coding, there's no fixed answer. There are multiple answers to a similar question. So just generating it again can give you a better answer for sure. This was from our GPT-4. There are similar codes on Code Llama and GPT-4. They are all handling the same model. I just showed you three examples with three different models with very different capabilities in terms of the size of the models and how it's working. So this was very good to see that even our base model is as performant, and Code Llama has gotten to a standard when it's competing with GPT-4. So these are the minor updates that we released this week, improving performances in general for the AskCodi tools. Data sources is still the same. We're going to be adding SQL databases very soon, and once these database, and we're continuously experimenting with what new data sources can work. And once these are added, in 2 weeks you'll be able to connect it to any tool and be like, hey, fix the code in xyz.py file, which would be as important as just copy pasting. So yeah, that's another phase. We're adding the language models. Like I said, we are adding Gemini, Claude. So very exciting in terms of the model range you will be able to play with very soon. This is a major direction we are going into to give you the freedom of trying all the tools in one places. Like I said, we created tools last time. We were playing with the Tailwind agent, which was which was a Tailwind agent we created, and we connected it to the Tailwind CSS GitHub repository. We cloned it and we added it. We're using the file retriever. In terms of UI changes, we added the clear button last time, which lets you temporarily clear the history of the agent. So it sort of starts fresh, but it still has memory of what happened in the past. And if you refresh your page, the history comes back right away. So it's not gone, it's just hidden for a second so that you can try running your code. I'll just clear this screen again. So this time we are working with a base model. We're doing file retrieval, and what I want to do is I want to document the test apply.test.js file. So even though it didn't find any file from documents that I was looking for, it still generated something because it had the history of what I had generated before. So if I refresh the screen again just to show you what's going on here, this time I asked document test file after clearing the screen, but I already had asked it before where it could find the file, and it documented it. So it had the code and it worked on a similar code and just wrote it back again. So the history is not gone, the history is available, the agent remembers the history. So if there's something that you ask based on one of your previous questions, it will know what you're asking for. So how I use clear is basically every time I want to try something new, or I want to work on a new problem, but I don't want to change or create a new agent overall, then I just clear it so that it's very easy for me to start afresh, not look at previous code, not worry about the clutter too much, just clear it a little bit, and then be like, okay, how do I get started with Tailwind CSS? So again, this time it told me exactly what I need to work with. So npm install Tailwind CSS init, and everything. So that's how powerful the agents have gotten in terms of file retrieval and everything. So yeah, that's the updates for agent. We have updated, we have again improved the performances of agent based on clear now. So you can buy, you don't have to worry about your previous history. You can clear it, ask questions, and go. Even if the agent gets fuzzy sometimes and start giving you weird answers, what I would recommend is just clear and restart again. That's a very simple way to do it. Yeah, that's the major updates for AskCodi this week. We have made performances updates around AskCodi in terms of model use, model performances, less errors, proper error handling in terms of if so that's what's happening here, that you can work with as much as code. One major update that I have forgotten to tell you, but I will get back to it, is AskCodi can handle very long context codes now. So in generate code, usually what you do is you add the context to the code, and then you ask questions. There are certain limitations on the model because there's certain context length that works. So our base model, which is GPT 3.5, has a context length of 16,000 tokens. Code Llama works on the Llama models, Llama 2 base models. So its context length is just 4,000 tokens, and GPT 4 is 128,000 tokens. But the longer the code, more fuzzy it gets as to where to work it. So we have implemented a mechanism in AskCodi itself to give you to work with really long codes. So just to work as an example, really long pieces of code. I don't know if this would work, but I'll try to find some examples of really line. Maybe this would something give me. KLOC. So okay, maybe it's not that easy to find it. So okay, I'll generate something. So write code in Python 3 to implement TensorFlow CNN. That wouldn't be a very long code, but it'll start giving me a base to work with. So what I'm gonna do is I generated the code for. I'll add this as context, not at the moment. So I'll just start a new note and I'll paste it here for now, and then I'll go to the other page, and then this time I want to generate an RNN. Let's go with an RNN. So now I have an RNN as well. RNN. Then we go, this time I would do maybe what are the neural networks? Time networking, but MTRNN, multi-time recurring neural networks. So this would also be a very long code. I'm just trying to collect a lot of samples of long code. I just wanted to show you guys how it works in terms of when you have really long codes that you want to work with. So okay, advice model stopped. I'll actually change it to GPT-4. Generate. Okay, it stopped. So I'll generate GPT-4. Guys, while I am collecting samples for very long codes to show you how AskCodi is now compatible with extremely long context length, you can give thousands and thousands of lines, and AskCodi will still work for your code. So if you're code fixing and you have a line code base of, let's say, thousands of lines, that is usually around 70,000, 80,000 tokens, and it usually goes really big. So I'm just trying to collect samples for you to show you that example. Meanwhile, while I do this, if you have any questions about what we talked about today, what are the future plans of AskCodi, what are the performances upgrades, or if you want to see something on AskCodi itself, if there's anything, please comment, and I'll answer those questions when I get to it. So I have collected enough samples. So I'll add context. this is not long enough, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy paste it again and again and again. So if you can see now, it's a very long code. Any model, any AI platform, AI model will falter with this. I won't work with GPT-4 because it has a very long context line, but I'll work with base. So we have added a very nice warning for you guys. So uh, processing might take longer because of longer size. For faster results, consider shorter requests. I'll copy paste it two more times just to make sure it's long enough for this example. So how to train a CNN model and test it on and test it on a test sample set randomized 100 times. I just made a very weird query, and then I have added this as context. So now AskCodi will be taking this entire thing as a context and figuring out. So exactly. So it basically learns from your context. It figures out how to do it and runs an optimizer, and then tests it on 100. So again, this was just to show you that you can really work with really long code. Uh, I'll just copy paste this code because I want to see maybe a code uh, bug detector. Is there an error with my CNN code or RNN code? Because you already saw. So what I'm gonna do is this time what I did, I gave a very long code with a context and I asked the questions. Uh, Very interesting that I think it took the empty RNN code sample. I'll run it with code llama. See, just changing model helps. So the code looks good overall, but there are a few things worth improving. So it gave me all the changes. The long codes are a little tricky to work with different models, but some models are more reliant. Code Llama has a smaller context length than GPT 3.5, so you're sure that we're not sending the entire code to the model and making it work somehow. There's some real engineering ingenuity from our development team, which worked on this and tried to bring it to you. So yeah, we can now bypass models in inherent context length and work with really long code. So if you have long files, you don't need to break it anymore, you don't need to figure out, just copy post the entire thing and we'll do the rest for you. So this works really well when you have to document the code or explain the code or security code scanner, bug detector. This was one of the major updates we did for AskCodi, so we are really glad to bring this forward. Do play around with it, it's still in beta. Do play around with it. Please reach out to us if it throws any errors, if it does not work. Base model is less performant than the other two models, so try working with Code Llama as well and see where it gets you. It's very performant and it works really well. So yeah, this is all the updates for AskCodi from the last 2 weeks. We have worked really hard on making performances upgrades all around the platform in terms of working with long code, be it working with input output, just getting you the right answers on time. Not Code Llama has a problem with outputting code which is being fixed in the Llama 3 model by Meta, but for now we have implemented our own mechanism to give you the answers that you need. So big updates for AskCodi. AskCodi agent is also seeing a new direction in terms of working with clarity, and we are adding a code corrector in it. So if it retrieves the wrong file or if it does not retrieve any file, then it reruns it, so and works as an actual software developer. If developers make mistake, we go back and fix it as soon as possible. So we are doing the similar thing with AskCodi agent, and yeah, very big updates coming in the month of March. Hopefully we want to make this live for everyone. It's still available for everyone, you can still use it, but you would have to go to use it in beta, and that's a place where we need a lot more feedback. So I would encourage you guys to go to beta, try it out, see how you can break the system. We encourage you guys to break the system and reach back to us. It can happen that the system breaks, it's still We're experimenting with a lot of things in the back end, so it might happen that we break something, but we'll get you a very stable version very soon. By hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have a very stable version, very performant version, the ultimate version of AskCodi, where we can only go up from there and not down. So yeah, this is all the updates. This is how to use AskCodi, and very excited for the future of AskCodi. I hope you guys are too. If you have any questions for me right now for the chat or the live, please let me know in the comments and I'll answer them before logging off. You would see me again after 2 weeks bringing out new more updates and all the new changes to AskCodi. Okay, I think we are clear. I'll just wait a couple of minutes more. Um, Again, if you want me to run through any sample, any question, let me know. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who joined us today. If there are no questions, I'll be logging off today, going back to working on AskCodi as usual, making it even better for you guys. And okay, so there's one question: is the VS Code plugin working? Yes, the VS Code plugin is working and it's up to date in terms of all the updates that are going out. So VS Code, you just need to update your VS Code plugins if you're on the older versions to get all the new features updated to you. Use your API key. You have the autocomplete API, autocomplete plugin, which lets you autocomplete code. It's working well. You can use this mentioned way to integrate your models. VS Code plugin is working. Everything is well and up. New updates are being rolled out for VS Code as well, in terms of working with the context of the file and context of the project in general. We hope to soon integrate the GitHub data source with your VS Code plugins as well, so you'll be able to work with your entire projects. That is something we are working on, but yeah, that's the update for VS Code. VS Code plugin is working. If something is not working for you, if something fails, to reach out to us in support and we'll get it sorted as soon as possible. Thank you, Marcelo, for asking that great question. Okay, that's the time for today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. If you have any other question, please do reach out to us in support, and we'll be upfront to help you. We'll be as eager as possible to help you out and sort it out. If there's still any issues, any bugs, let us know and we'll solve it. There are major upgrades coming to AskCodi Sudo. Please do trying your beta. Try out different tools. Figure out if there's an issue with the tool. Try to help us as much as possible, and I'm sure you guys will be rewarded with our new AskCodi version as soon as possible. And uh, as always excited to do these live events and show you everything new in AskCodi. Can't wait to come back in 2 weeks and show you all the new updates that are being rolled out in 2 weeks. Thank you so much, guys. Today, that's all the time for today.